Alright, here we go. So let's talk about this wild situation in South Korea that's got the world buzzing. I mean, imagine this. It's the early hours of January 15th, 2025, and if you were looking down from the sky at Seoul, you'd see one giant word lighting up the city: arrest. Yeah, it's that big of a deal. Here's what happened. At around 4 a.m. local time, South Korea's high-ranking officials' crime investigation agency, that's a mouthful, right? Anyway, they call it the CIO, along with the police, left their HQ on a mission. By 4:20 a.m., they were at the gates of the Hanam-dong residence of none other than the suspended president Yoon Yeol. Yup, a sitting president. Let that sink in for a second. Now, this wasn't their first rodeo. Earlier, on January 3rd, they tried to arrest Yoon, but it was like a bad action movie. 5 hours of standoff with the president's security team, and well, they failed. Why? Not enough manpower, apparently. So this time, they didn't mess around. The CIO, which only has 52 people total, brought 40 of their own and called in backup, like serious backup. About 1,000 police officers joined the operation, and according to the BBC, there were actually 54 teams, making up a total of 3,200 people. Yeah, you heard that right, 3,200 people to arrest one guy. I mean, wow, that's some go big or go home energy. Of course, it didn't go smoothly. Yoon's legal team and some members of his Conservative People Power Party showed up early, locking arms in a human chain to block the way. Imagine the last time Koreans were this united was probably during the Seoul Olympics. Things got heated, and the CIO had to warn them. Step aside or you'll be arrested. Yoon's team fired back, calling the whole thing illegal, saying, "You're the ones who should be arrested." Oh, and Yoon's lawyers didn't just stick to the streets. They went live on Instagram to broadcast the chaos. I mean, who needs Netflix when you've got this, right? And the crowd? Oh, there was something else. Thousands of people showed up to witness history because, honestly, how often do you see a sitting president being hauled off like this? Some were chanting to arrest Yoon, some to defend him, and together, it created this bizarre, chaotic symphony. According to estimates, there were about 8,700 Yoon supporters and 250 protesters against him. That's like a lot of people to show up before dawn in freezing temperatures just for the drama. The standoff dragged on for hours. By 7:30 a.m., the CIO and police had had enough. They broke out ladders to climb into the presidential compound. Yeah, it was like a scene straight out of a heist movie. By 8 a.m., they'd made it past multiple barriers, including a line of buses and an iron gate, before finally entering the residence. Surprisingly, the president's Secret Service team, which had put up a fight earlier this month, stepped back this time. Maybe they figured it wasn't worth it, or maybe they were just done playing defense. Either way, by 10:33 a.m., it was official. Yoon Yeol was in custody. So what happens now? The CIO has 48 hours to question him, after which they'll need another arrest warrant to keep him in custody. If they get it, they can hold him for up to 20 days while preparing for trial. They're reportedly planning some intense questioning over the next 2 days. And it's not just Yoon's political fate on the line. South Korea's economy is in for a rough ride, too. The Korean won was already Asia's weakest currency in 2024, and now, with this political chaos, markets are jittery. There's talk that the Bank of Korea might cut interest rates to stabilize things, but that could make the won fall even further. I mean, it's a mess either way. If they cut rates, real estate might bounce back, but private debt will explode. If they don't, the economy could tank. It's like choosing between a rock and a hard place. Before being taken away, Yoon released a pre-recorded video message titled "A Letter to the People." In it, he said he was surrendering to avoid bloodshed, but emphasized that this didn't mean he acknowledged the legality of the investigation. He also urged South Koreans not to let this kind of situation happen to anyone else, which, well, is kind of ironic considering his supporters probably think he's the victim here. And yeah, the scene outside his residence was just wild. His 8,701 supporters, yes, someone actually counted, were probably deeply moved. The one extra person? That's his wife, Kim Ki-hee, who might just be next in line for her own criminal case experience. So here we are, a president arrested, an economy on the brink, and a nation divided. It's not every day you see something this dramatic, even in politics. For the rest of us watching from the sidelines, it's like a real-life political thriller. South Korea is going to be feeling the ripple effects of this for a while. And honestly, the rest of the world is watching closely, especially with global markets and geopolitics in the mix. Well, let's see how this plays out. It's going to be a heck of a ride.